Hello everyone, and welcome back to EduTap. So, guys, we are here to take and discuss another session on NABARD Grade A Phase 2 Descriptive English, and the topic that we'll be covering today is report writing. So, report writing is a very new kind of composition in itself, and I think all of you would love to understand the format and the basics of report writing. It may or may not be asked in your exam, but nonetheless it is a very important kind of composition in itself, which you would have to undertake when you're working in these organizations, right? So guys, if you can see me and if you can hear me, kindly acknowledge in the chat box. If everything is clear, if you can see the screen, if you can hear me properly, just give me a thumbs up in the chat box, or just write yes in the chat box. Hi Arunachari Chari, welcome to the session, dear. So here we'll be preparing report writing for NABARD Grade A Phase 2 Descriptive English, right? So guys, before we begin, I would like to inform you about the one-time sale that is going on, and it is only valid for today and tomorrow only. So we are offering a flat 48% discount on all our combo courses for RBI, for NABARD, for SEBI, and for PFRDA. So I think if you're preparing for any of these exams, or if you're thinking of preparing for any of these exams, I think this is the best time to do so. And the coupon code to avail this offer is capital one time, and this sale is valid from today till tomorrow, right? All right, guys, so let's begin. So as I told you earlier as well, so this is this was what we were, what we did yesterday about letter writing. So I showed you this page yesterday. This is the official syllabus of English. So they have given one essay, they've given one précis writing, and then they've said comprehension and business or / office corresponding. So there'll be three questions, and as I understand it properly, there would definitely be one essay, there would definitely be one précis, and then there would be either one letter or a report, right? IK studies, I'm not exactly sure kab tak aayega, but see, if you've done well, I think this is not something that you should be worried about. You should be worried about your preparation. Good evening, Alisha. How are you? Welcome to the session. So guys, under business or office correspondence, there are two things. One is letter writing, and we covered that yesterday. But the other part, see, which is possible, plausible, right, under this business or office correspondence is report writing. So we will be, learning about report writing. See, it's better to be prepared than to be sorry, right? It's better to be ready than to be sorry at any point of time. So, and as I've told you earlier as well, NABARD is known for surprising students, for aspirants every year. They change word limit here and there, they change number of questions, and then they suddenly give random topics. So it is, or it may be possible that instead of letter, in name of business or office correspondence, they ask you to write a report. So it's better to know what report writing entails, and what it is all about, then how to write it, what is the structure of a report, and then we will discuss a few sample reports as well in this session today. So guys, don't forget to like the session, don't forget to share it, and if you need the PDF of this session, you can join our Telegram group, the link for which has been given in the description of the video, and you can get all these PDFs for free there, right? So let's begin by understanding the definition of a report. So see guys, I think all of us have written reports when we were in school, am I right? So see, remember, there used to be a question, write a report on the annual function which was conducted in your school last month or last week or last Saturday, or there was a vaccination drive, or there was a blood donation camp in your area, write a report about that. So I think all of you remember what report writing looks like, but let's revise it again, and let's understand what is the necessary requirement in a report and how to write it. So let's start with the definition. A report is a written account of something that one has observed, heard, done, or investigated. So guys, so see, you are basically acting as a reporter. Like, you understand what a reporter does, right? You've heard about news reporters. They visit an incident or a place where they observe, analyze, investigate, or hear something, or they see something, and then they report it to the media or to the public, right? So a report is basically, it is a written account. So a report is a written account of something that one has observed, heard, done, or investigated, in formal words basically. Right, so report, it is a systematic and well organized presentation of facts and findings of an event that has already taken place somewhere. So basically what we are discussing here is, see, a report is a written account of something that has already happened. It is a systematic and well organized presentation of facts and findings of an event that has already taken place somewhere. That means when you present a systematic and organized presentation of facts of an event that has already taken place, that is called a report. Reports are usually as a form of written assessment. So reports are used as a form of written assessment to find out what you have learned from your reading, research, or experience, and to give you the experience of an important skill that is widely used in workplace. So when you'll be working in your organizations, when you'll be working in these organizations, see, the point is you will have to write some reports. You will be definitely asked to write a few reports. Probably you'll sit in a meeting and you'll be asked to write down the minutes of the meeting, or probably some assignment that has been given to you, and you have to present the outcome of the assignment. So reports are a very common a composition in your workplace, and that is why they are asking you to be skilled in office correspondence. So see, but there is another thing that I wanted to show you guys. See, the report has never been asked in NABARD exam ever, right? But earlier, before 2020, they used to mention that they could ask you a letter or a report. So we are following the same, and they've just changed it to, so they've changed the language to business or office correspondence, but it may include a letter or a report as well. So there are chances that they may ask you to write a report. So it's better to be prepared than to be sorry, right? So we have understood what the definition of a report is. A report is a written account of something, of an event that has already happened, and it's a systematic and well organized presentation of facts and findings, and it is asked to basically experience what you have learned from your research and your understanding of that event. So that is called a report basically. Now, can we classify reports into different sections? Can you understand what you know reports are all about? So basically we can segregate or bifurcate reports under two categories. One is informational reports and the other is analytical reports. So I'll as the name suggests, I'll read out the definition and the difference between the two. So an informational reports provides a summary of information and data found on a particular topic. Now one such report is the expense report. For example, you did some expense on, probably you went on a tour or you organized something and there was an expense, right? There was some expenditure and you have to prepare an expense report. So this is informational report where you provide some information. So an informational report provides a summary of information and data found on a particular topic. One such report is expense report. Now this report is a set of information that is used to request allocation of funds and then present what would be required and how it would be decision making reports, right? Policy reports, status reports. Now these are examples of informational reports. The other type is analytical reports, where you analyze something and you present it. So in an analytical report, information is researched and collected. Then the report provides an analysis and that leads to one or more recommendations. Example, investigation reports or progress reports. So the difference is, in informational reports, you provide some information about something which probably is going to happen, right? So informational reports is when you're preparing a report for your policy or for, of a status of something which would lead to provision of some information. Whereas analytical reports are reports where information is researched and collected, and then it is analyzed, and then the final verdict, sort of verdict, is given in the report along with one or more recommendations. So these are basically two types of reports to understand what type of reports they may ask you, right? Now what are the key points of a report? Now guys, these are important. Please make sure that you note them down. So there are certain key points of a report that you must understand and follow. Now, first of all, in a report, always stick to a third person narrative. What is a third person narrative? Where you do not write, or you do not act as if you are the first person. You write your report as a third person, right? So whosoever reads it understands that if it is applicable to him or not. For example, if you are writing a progress report, so you'll not be writing that I researched this and they did that. So I and he and you, they are these words are not used in a report. So always keep a third person perspective, right? For example, it has been written by a third person and it is read by a third person. Second important point is always use past tense. That is very important, guys. See, why am I asking you to use past tense? Because a report is a written, you call it a written uh, so it is a written understanding or a written presentation of a particular event that has already taken place. So when something some event has already taken place, so when you're reporting it later on, so obviously that would be in the past. So second key point to remember is you always use past tense in a report, right? Then third important point, the report must be simple and straightforward. Avoid using superfluous English and exaggerated narration. So see, in other things you have to create a scenario, right, where you have to write sentences convincing the reader that you have presented your scenario well. But in a report you need to write very simple straightforward sentences. You don't need to use any fancy English or any verbose English. You need to be just presenting your report in a very simple and straightforward way. Good evening, Narendra. Welcome to the session. Next, guys, divide your ideas into multiple sentences rather than one long sentence. Now, this is a very common habit that people have. They try to collate the points and they make longer sentences. They feel that longer sentences are good. They present more information, but that is a poor way of presentation, guys. So don't do that. So divide your ideas into multiple sentences rather than one long sentence. Right. Then competitive exams generally give topics from current burning issues. So make sure that you are up to date with current affairs. So for example, see what am I talking about here is, for example, there was a recruitment drive, army recruitment drive in your area, right, which you were a part of, right? So let's say they ask you to write a report on that, right, for Agniveers or whatnot. So probably they ask you COVID-19 vaccination drive, or blood donation camp, or awareness drive, or adult literacy camp. So these are certain events which could be thrown at you if they ask you to write a report, right? So please be up to date what is going on around you. Then try to keep the report as factually correct as possible. Factually correct means it should be logical. So if I say there was a blood donation camp, and if you write in your report that the camp started at 8 p.m. and it went up till 12 p.m., that was midnight, right? So that doesn't make sense because blood donation camp doesn't go on at night, right? So it should be factually and logically to the point, and keep the report brief. So you do not need to go on explaining everything in a report. You just need to provide the factual information. So report is about understanding how to present factual information without missing anything important, along with short and logical sentences where you do not need to exaggerate or add anything on your own into that sentences. So that is what is called a properly structured report. Now we will discuss the structure as well, but there are certain points that you must understand. A well-written report must possess the following traits. It must adhere to specifications of report brief. That means if you're talking about blood donation, you're talking about one thing. You cannot add anything else into it, right? Second, analysis of relevant information should be in the report. What you analyzed from that particular event, the analysis should be present. Structuring material in a logical and coherent order. So see, you must follow the sequence of the report. There should be a logical sequence. See, if you are writing a report on your annual day function, right? So if you write that the functions was supposed to start at 10 a.m., the races were going on, students were participating, and then if you say the chief guest came before the function began, now that is unstructured way. So you have to go in a structured way, step by step, what happened after that, and what went on after that. So structuring the material in a logical and coherent order is very important. Then presentation in a consistent manner according to the instructions of the report brief. So presentation in a consistent manner, that means you have to be consistent in your sentences according to the instructions of the report brief. That means whatever you have to present in a consistent manner, in a logical sequence, and making appropriate conclusions that are supported by the evidence and analysis of the report. And then you have to also sometimes, you probably need to make conclusions, right, recommendations. So what was investigated in the report and in those analysis reports, you are also supposed to provide conclusions or recommendations along with the report, right? So these are certain key points of a report, if you understand what I meant. Now let's come to the format of a report. So there is a 7-step format. As in letter we covered yesterday, we understood there is a 10-step format in a letter, right? Receiver's address, date, sender's address, sender's address, then date, then receiver's address, then subject, salutation, introduction, body, conclusion, paragraphs, then closing salutation, and then your name and details. So these were the 10 steps for a letter. Now in a report there is a 7-step format which you need to understand. So the first step in a format in a report is you always start with the designation of the writer, right? Who has written the report? So that needs to be written on the top. Who has written this report? You've written newspaper editorials, right? Articles. So on the top there is always the name of the editor or the writer who has written that particular article or the news snippet, right? So first of all, designation of the writer, followed by date. Then after that, the date on which the report has been written. After that, you give the title of the report, where you give in short, one short sentence what the report is all about. Then you come to the brief summary, brief introduction of the whole event, that this report is about what, and what are we going to discuss in this report. So that has to be presented in the introduction part. Then you give the details of the event, and you lay out the whole whole report, the whole detailed part of the report in the body paragraph. And then you make another paragraph where you add or provide any conclusion to the report, what happened in the end, and what you observed, and what was the final outtake of that. Then if required, any recommendations or actions or any decisions taken after that a particular event, that would be mentioned at the end. So this is the 7-step format of a report: designation of a writer, then date, then title of the report, where you in brief, like subject in a letter, you introduce the title, that the whole highlight of the event, that should be put in the title of the report. Then 3 paragraphs introduction, where you introduce what the report is all about. Then body, where you highlight you cover the whole scenario, whole discussion. Then you give the conclusion to it, and then you provide any recommendations or decisions or actions that have been taken after that event in that section. So this is called the 7-step format of a report, right? Is everything clear on the screen, Arunachari? I hope it is okay. Good evening, Jitendra. Welcome to the session, dear. So guys, please note down. You can take a screenshot of the screen if you want, or I'll also provide the PDF of these sessions to you in our Telegram group, the link for which has been given in the description of the video, right? So this is the 7-step format of a report, official report that is written, right? Now I will provide you certain examples of the report as well, where you can see, okay, there is a certain scenario and what needs to be written in that particular report. But let's first of all understand what is the detailed understanding. So for example, I'm just giving you a sample. So this is what your report should look like, right? On any day, started beginning by the designation by marketing team XYZ organization, If it is written on behalf of a team, if written by a person, then name and then designation. So marketing team XYZ organization, then followed by date, then title report. You don't need to write this in the paper, you just need to write the title, but I'm just marking it that this is the title. Annual business report for the financial year 2018 and 19. So this should look like the title of the uh, this should look like the title of the report. Then you start with the first paragraph, introduction. The summary should contain the purpose of the report, what you did, what you analyzed and what you found, what were the results and your recommendations. Now these recommendations should be short and not go beyond a page. So that is the basically understanding of the report, that this is what needs to be put in the report. See guys, there are three things that should be included in your report. Number one, the purpose of the report. Number two, what you analyzed and what you found, that means what was the result, and then your recommendation. So these are the three things that should be present in a report. Now this is what you need to make in your report: introduction, body, conclusion. So in introduction paragraph, this part introduces the reader to your report, sets the purpose in place, and broadly plates out the content of your entire document. So as like in letter, you have to write one or two sentences where you introduce what the report is all about, where you set the purpose in place, and you basically plainly lay out the content of the document. You introduce your report. Then in body, this part contains the details of the report. You discuss the whole scenario. Now throughout your report, make sure that you keep breaking points and starting off a new logical thought with a numbered subheading. Tables and figures must be labeled if you are using it, but in this paper you don't need tables and figures, so we can eliminate that. But throughout your report, make sure that you keep on changing and you keep on adding different titles or subtitles to the report. In conclusion, this part concludes the report with required details, and any actions or decisions taken should be put in the end. So this is the 7-step format. Number one, by the by who has written the report, then date, then title, then introduction paragraph, then body paragraph, then conclusion, and then you give any recommendations or actions which need to be taken, right, or which are supposed to be taken. Narendra, you don't need to provide any space. Space is not allowed in this exam, so you just need to move to the next line, and you don't keep any spaces in between, right? This is just to show you the separate paragraphs, just to make it clear in your head. But in the actual paper, you will not be allowed to create a space of a line. So what you do is, wherever you finish the previous part, you just move to the next line and start your part. So that would make a new paragraph for you. Correct, Narendra? You can't leave lines blank in the paper, right? So now let's look at certain certain reports, certain examples of reports, sample reports, where you will understand what the report should look like and how do you write reports. So this is the question that was given: as the human resources manager, HR manager, write a report to examine the high turnover rate of employees. High turnover rate of employees at a corporation. So that was the scenario that was presented to the presented, and we had to write a report. So you start with this. Number one, who has written the report? By HR department. Then you write the date. So see, this is what you have to do, Narendra, right? Result, Abhishek, I'm not sure. Probably it will be announced very soon. So keep your fingers crossed, and don't worry about the result. Worry about phase 2. You'll not have enough time for phase 2 if you've cleared phase 1. So my suggestion: start preparing for phase 2, Abhishek, and it will definitely help you. So HR department, then date, then title: high turnover rate of employees at a corporation, right? You don't need to write report here. So I've just written to tell you that this is what the title is. So high turnover rate of employees at a corporation. Then you start with the introduction paragraph. GHS Corporation has been operating for 10 years. It employs 200 people, with most of the employees tasked with processing fees for insurance clients. So the work is to process fees for insurance clients. Now, despite operating in a region with substantial unemployment, the annual turnover has been between 60 to 65% everywhere. That means people do not turn over, right? Do not come to work there. Now, what are the findings? That means this. Now, this was the introduction paragraph. Now you don't write these. Now start with the body paragraph. The most significant issue found by the HR team when interviewing staff was the lack of support to new mothers who require childcare services to be able to come to work. That means women who go for maternity leave do not come back because they do not have any support in the organization. Employees mentioned their frustration at not having an in-house childcare system that could help them continue working. This was one point. Then another point, another issue mentioned by the staff was the lack of communication between the employees and the upper management. They expressed their concerns about receiving inconsistent and late instructions. They shared how they didn't know the main business objectives, which led them to lose interest in the company and their jobs. That was another issue, that there was no connection between communication between the upper management and the lower management. So these were the two findings of the reasons for high turnover rate of employees at a company. Now, what are the conclusions? The main issues that we found were as follows: lack of support to new mothers in regards to childcare, and lack of communication between the staff and the upper management. Now, what are the recommendations provided? To address these two main issues, we recommend the following steps be taken. Number one, an in-house childcare center can be established at minimal cost to GHS, that is the organization, encouraging mothers to return to work. That is one recommendation, and the other is, I'll read out to you. Probably it's hidden behind my camera, but I'll read out to you guys, and you can get the PDF on our Telegram group. So the second recommendation is each department should choose an employee ambassador to represent the interest of the staff in management meetings. Now, this ambassador can express concerns and relay outcomes to their teams to increase engagement. So these are the two recommendations provided by the HR department. So this is what your report should look like. 7-step format: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. Right. So this is a formal report in an organization, right? In a corporate organization. Now let's look at some other scenarios as well, now which may be thrown at you in the exam. And guys, in our courses we have provided you, I think, more than 20 30 reports, sample reports, which will help you to understand and prepare yourself for this, right? So as the secretary of an NGO, write a report on an adult literacy camp organized recently in your area. So as the secretary of an NGO, you are supposed to write a report on an adult literacy program that was organized in your area. So this is what your report should look like, right? And this is how you write: by PV Sunitha, secretary. Then date 19 February 2022, adult literacy camp. This is the title. Then introduction paragraph: adult literacy camp was organized on 19th February 2022 by the Cultural Society. The event started with the welcome speech for the chief guest, Mrs. Rani, a renowned social activist. Now, then comes the body. The main objective of the camp was to bring awareness to adults who have crossed the age limit of formal education and are searching for an opportunity to study. Around 400 people participated in the camp, and these people were divided into 6 groups based on their interests. Now, people who belong to a particular group of interest were asked to assemble in their respective areas. All the rooms were established with seating chairs and blackboards. There were around 30 volunteers who guided the participants to assemble in their respective areas. The volunteers spent at least 4 hours teaching the basics of reading and writing to adults. Free stationery was also distributed by the chief guest to the participants along with the participation certificate. The camp witnessed the learning and growth of adults together, which ended with a positive note. Now, if you don't have any recommendations to make, now this is what an informational report looks like. So the previous report was an analytical report where you analyze something and you provided your recommendations, conclusions. But this is an informational report that you experienced an event and then you presenting your presenting the minutes of a particular event. Now this is called an informational report, and this may be asked to you in your exam, right? So this was another example of a report. We will look at a few more so that you can fairly understand what report should look like and what the language of a report should feel like. So next question, guys, next sample report. The question was: draft a report on a drive conducted by your organization for menace of drugs and awareness of misuse of drugs in the youth. So you have to write a report on a drive, right? Awareness drive conducted by your organization for menace of drugs and awareness of misuse of drugs in the youth. So that is the scenario that was given. So let's see what the report could look like by PK Mohanta, secretary. Then date 7th October 2021, followed by title Awareness Drive Against Drugs. Then let's see what could be written in the report. Drive for reducing menace of drugs and awareness creation about misuse of drugs in the youth. That was the purpose of the report. Then a drive was conducted on 5th October 2021 by Healthy Life Foundation at Bhubaneswar. The event started with the welcome speech by Chief Guest Mr. R.K. Sahu, renowned social scientist. The main objective of the drive was to create awareness about the consumption of drugs among the adult population. For this purpose, a sample population of 1,000 adults was taken to check the intake level of drugs and the types of drugs consumed by the population. Now, what was the what was the outcome? It was found that the young population is motivated to consume drugs due to following reasons. Number one, ignorance by parents. Number two, poor education standard. Number three, impact of society. Number four, ignorance about harmful effects of drugs and smuggling of drugs, or probably other personal issues like stress, anxiety, or what else, right? So that could be added here. Then what is the outcome? So it was decided to educate those 100 sample youth about harmful effects of drugs, and they were taught to disseminate such information in the society. The badly impacted persons were sent to rehabilitation centers. Local police promised to take necessary steps to reduce smuggling of drugs. So that is a crisp report about awareness drive which was conducted for menace of drugs and awareness of misuse of drugs, right? Let's look at another sample report, guys. The scenario is given to you here. Let's see what could be written in this report. Cultural Society Sunshine Public School, Nellore, organized an adult literacy camp in its neighborhood. Now write a report in your this. So by PV Sunita, Secretary, Adult Literacy Camp. An adult literacy camp was organized by Cultural Society Sunshine Public School, Nellore, in the school neighborhood yesterday, extending educational options to those adults who have lost the opportunity and have crossed the age of formal education. The activities of the camp were carried out by Cultural Society of the school, and there were a total of 25 volunteers. The camp began with a welcome speech for the chief guest, Mrs. Kavita Nayak, a renowned social worker. 400 people were part of the camp. They were divided into different groups in accordance with their competencies. They were taught the basics of being able to read and write. Free books and stationery is being provided for quality education. All the arrangements, including desks and blackboards, were done in advance. Apart from educational needs, special care was devoted to hygiene and sanitation. They were taught the basics of cleanliness, like types of wastes and their management. Refreshments were also provided to the participants, and the immense enthusiasm and zeal in the people to learn was the main driving factor. The chief guest distributed the certificates of participation among the volunteers, and the camp ended on a positive note. There was an atmosphere of learning and growing together. Right. So this is what your report should look like, and they would be asking you, if they ask you if a report on certain issues. So guys, this session was basically about understanding what a report looks like. See, NABARD has never asked about report writing, but they always used to provide it in the notification that they may ask you a report. So this year as well, they've just given business or office communication, and report is a formal office communication, right? So it's better to learn it instead of being sorry, right, than to be sorry. So that was report writing. Now we are offering a special one-time sale where we are offering flat 48% off on all our courses, which includes RBI combo courses, NABARD combo courses, SEBI combo courses, and PFRDA combo courses on both gold and silver packages. Right, so the coupon code is capital one time, and the sale is valid today and tomorrow, that is 29th September till 30th September 2022. So guys, don't miss this opportunity, and get yourself benefited of the offers that we are providing you here. So guys, any doubts, any queries if you may have, other than when the result would be declared? So result would be declared any day now, guys, and I think it is time for you to be focused in your in your typing, in your drafting, in your articulation, where you need to learn how to draft these answers, and you should be busy practicing your answers. So guys, if you have any doubts, please feel free to ask us. And if you wish to contact us, you can call us on this number during the office hours, that is 8146207241, or you can also drop us an email at hello@edutab.co.in. Right, so that was all about Prezi writing. Now I hope it was helpful to you, and I hope that someday, when and probably whenever you are asked to write a report, At least you remember the basic of Pressy writing. You understand what a report should look like, how to write a report, what to present in a report, and I hope you feel much more confident about your preparation now. Right. So we invite all your constructive feedbacks and your suggestions. So if you have any feedbacks, if you have any suggestions, do share it. Do share them with us, and we promise to be with you throughout your journey, guys. So having said that, I'll take your leave for today, guys. I wish you all the success for your endeavors, and I wish you all the very best for your preparation and your journey ahead. So I'll take your leave for today. Thank you so much once again, and happy learning to all of you guys. I'll see you again tomorrow, by the way. I'll see you again tomorrow with Pressy writing, with a session on Pressy writing. So don't miss Pressy writing. Pressy writing is a very important question for your exam, and that is going to prove very crucial for your paper. So don't worry, we will cover Pressy writing tomorrow. So stay tuned. I'll be there same time, 5 p.m. In the evening with Pressy writing. So that is going to be very, very helpful, and that is going to prove very beneficial for your exam. So don't miss that session tomorrow. So I'll see you again tomorrow. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.